describe an occasion when you were not allowed to use your mobile phone. One occasion that I remember very clearly was during an English public speaking competition. Before entering the competition hall, every contestant had to hand in their mobile phone to the organizers. The rule was there to make sure nobody could search for information online or communicate with other contestants during the event. At first, I felt a little uncomfortable because, like many people, I usually rely on my phone for almost everything, from checking the time to calming myself by listening to music. However, after sitting in the waiting area for a while, I gradually forgot about it and focused entirely on my presentation instead. Looking back, I actually think it was a very sensible rule. Since nobody had access to their phone, everyone paid much more attention to the competition itself, rather than scrolling through social media or getting distracted by notifications. In fact, after getting my phone back at the end of the day, I realized I hadn't missed it at all. That experience made me realize how dependent we sometimes become on our phones without even noticing it.
Describe a time you needed to use your imagination. One occasion when I really had to use my imagination was while preparing for an English public speaking competition during my final year of high school. The topic of my speech was about the importance of stepping outside your comfort zone. At first, I wrote it like a typical school essay. It was full of facts, statistics, and logical arguments. Although everything was technically correct, our teacher listened to it and simply said, "It sounds informative, but it doesn't make me feel anything." That comment completely changed the way I approached the speech. Instead of trying to impress the judges with difficult vocabulary, I started asking myself a different question. What kind of story would people actually remember after they went home? After hours of brainstorming, I came up with an idea. Rather than beginning with a formal greeting, I imagined myself talking to my younger self, the shy teenager who was too afraid to raise his hand in class. I turned the entire speech into an imaginary conversation between my past self and my present self. Throughout the presentation, I switched naturally between the two characters, showing how fear had gradually turned into confidence. To make it even more engaging, I paused at certain moments, changed my tone of voice, and even left a few seconds of silence before asking rhetorical questions, giving the audience time to think. It felt much more like telling a personal story than giving a formal speech. When I finally delivered the speech, I could see the audience smiling, nodding, and paying close attention from beginning to end. That was when I realized that imagination isn't just about inventing something unrealistic. Sometimes it's about finding a creative way to tell an ordinary story so that people genuinely connect with it. Looking back, I think that creative process taught me just as much as the competition itself, and it completely changed the way I think about public speaking.